Get them to tell you what they value.
Default to, I'm going to figure out a way to help you get what you want, not, gee, I really hope it's going to work out. That's what I refer to as sales prevention.
Just talk you out of a potential commission.
And here's the mistake I think the agent made.
Cash call, everybody. Dale Archdegan, Brian Curtis back again for another riveting episode of some sales training. And just to mark the date here, it is the day after the election, right, Brian?
It is. And Dale and I were having a discussion in the green room, which we're not going to share with you. So, again, whether your team, it's funny, I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan. And so this morning on my team meeting, I wore my Colorado Avalanche jersey and I said, my team won. And people looked at me and I was like, and like, because at this point in time, that's more important to me than what happened last night. Anyway, so, whether your team won or lost, we're going to give you some great information to go sell some houses. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And whether your team won or lost, here's what I know, Brian. I don't know about you, but I still got to raise my kids and foster my marriage and fund my retirement and serve my clients. Half of them are going to be who are happy and half of them who are sad, and half of our listeners who are happy and half of our listeners who are sad. So that's what we got to do today. How does that sound?
Sounds great. I'll make a joke. If your team lost, I do have processes to help you get over that. So if you need, reach out, Dale, and I can. We'll do the psychology stuff for it. But anyway,
I like that.
Seriously, we're just going to keep selling real estate, right?
Yeah. Hey, these people got to move. They can't all live in their mom's basement. So
some will want to move because the wrong guy won, in their opinion. So I haven't seen that post this year. 4 years ago, there was, if you want to move to Canada kind of post,
Oh yeah. I remember those. posts. It was, agents were like, if you want to move to Canada, I'm a listing agent.
Exactly.
Here's my number. Okay. Enough of that. Brian, I got a call for today that I want to listen to, and it's pretty, standard. I have an agent, and this agent is new in our training. He's doing really good. I can hear him execute about 50% of our process, and I'll talk people through that. What do you got for us today?
I've got a similar call, and it's funny because I think good news, in my opinion, is that we're starting to get into some nuanced things. So, I would say that we could give the call that I have to a lot of people, and they would go, that call's just fine. And you and I are probably going to shred it. And here's my point, is that it's understanding a little bit deeper level, because a lot of times it's like, well, I had a good person. We got them what they want. Therefore, that's a good call. No, that's a good call for the client. It may not have been a good call for us. And I think that's the biggest thing I'll point out during that call. It's fun. There's nothing horrible about the call. And I feel like we missed some opportunities to just do better. And that's what I think our audience is here for. They're not looking for the obvious. When you tell the guy to go screw themselves, everybody knows you're not supposed to do that. That's the little subtle things that take us from here to here. That's hopefully what we show them today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'll go first if that's all right with you.
We're connecting you to a local agent now.
Hello, this is. How are you doing today?
Hey, this is. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well. Appreciate you asking. It looks like you inquired about. Is that correct?
Yep.
Alrighty, and you were wanting to take a look at that tomorrow at 1:30?
Yeah. There are a couple other open houses around that time, so we're just trying to work it in around the same time.
So that's a flag, right? A couple of other open houses. Work it in. Yeah. So we're going to note that, everybody, that he said there's a couple of other open houses. That could be good, which means he doesn't have an agent. That could be bad, which means that they are experienced at looking at houses. So we don't know.
Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I love that you don't immediately need to handle that. I hope he doesn't immediately handle it. I hope he's subtle about it.
I would say you're hearing our training. This guy's doing a really good job. It's a straightforward call. He's doing a great job. You're going to hear him go through the process. He's doing really good. And then we're going to get stuck at, I have an agent.
Put in a request with the seller for that time. If for any reason that doesn't work for them, is there an alternative time you could take a look?
Like any time in the afternoon. So anytime between like 1 and 3 or 4 or so.
Okay, perfect. What about the home did you like?
I think we like the basement. I'm trying to remember which one this was. This is the one with like the theater in the basement, I think. Like the basement a lot. Like the yard. I think kitchen was good on that one too. So yeah, there's a lot we liked about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you guys local to the area?
Yeah, we're on Westfield, so pretty close.
Oh, okay. I grew up in Westfield for about 20 years.
Nice.
Okay, so he's doing his rapport building, right? What do you like about the home? Are you guys local? Finds out the guy is local, starts to do a little bit of rapport building. The agent is on the mark.
Dialed in. I like it.
Just north of SMG, St. Maria Goretti.
Okay. I was in Village Farms.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think we looked at a house in Village Farms too.
It's a beautiful neighborhood. My dad,
yeah,
he still lives in there, and he's planning on putting his home on the market next year.
Oh, nice, sweet.
Yeah. Alrighty. But with that being said, have you purchased a home before?
No, this will be our first one.
Okay, it'll be your first one. So there have been some changes as of July 1st. Are you familiar with what agents have to do now in order to show homes on the MLS?
Great delivery, right? Are you familiar with what agents have to do now to show homes on the MLS? Very straightforward.
Yeah, well, maybe not on showing. I know like paying is on the buyer's side now for the buyer's real estate agent. I remember that change going through.
Well, so that it's part of those changes, but that's not entirely correct. It basically just states it's a buyer agency disclosure between you and I, and it states how long we're going to work together, how I get paid, and my fiduciary duties to you in the event you decide to move forward with the property. But with you saying that, I did want to clarify that I would say 98% is the data we've seen. 90% of sellers are still offering buyer agent commissions, meaning that our fee is typically still paid for by the seller. That's not coming out of your pocket.
Okay. So I don't think he did bad there. And initially I wasn't going to talk about that part. The part I want to talk about is coming up. It's the agent part. Listening to this again, I think that the agent did a good job of explaining that, but frankly, the buyer pays it wasn't an objection. Now that I hear it again,
I agree. It may be an objection, but it was, to your point, it was not, I don't want to pay a commission. I don't, he was just stating it as if it was a fact. It's not a fact. And here's the mistake I think the agent made. He said, that's not right, or that's not correct, I think was the exact verbiage. You don't have to tell them they're wrong. This guy didn't seem to care, but there are people, the second you tell them that they're wrong, you're going to lose them. And so I would just be careful. So when somebody says something, I'm going to use air quotes, wrong, say, hey, if you don't mind, let me just cover real quick how it's changed and how it'll directly affect you. And then just go and don't say you're wrong. Because again, there are people who get really offended by someone telling them they're wrong. It's not a huge thing, and you're not going to lose 100% of your clients doing it. But, we're only a couple minutes into a conversation. Telling somebody they're wrong may not be the right thing to do at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Also, going back to the fact that he didn't present it as an objection, he just said, I know that the commission is paid by the buyers now. I think that listening to this again, I might have just answered that with a single word. And I might have just said, maybe. And then I would have gone back on track to what needs to be done in order to show a property. Because the point is, if I'm going to show this property to you, I'm required to have a disclosure signed. I'm required to have the BBA signed. You're not going to say BBA, but I'm required to have a paper signed that says 3 things, right? What happens if you buy this? How I get paid and how long we work together. That's what I have to get signed in order to show this to you and to be legal. And I personally would rather you and I know that that's going to happen when I see you at the property, rather than me show up with a paper in my hand that I didn't tell you about that talks about me getting paid. So that's really what I want to cover in this call.
And I want to add one more tiny thing. The agent made it about him instead of the buyer. Let me tell you what I need to do now. Dale and I talked about this at the very beginning of the call, and we don't listen to each other's calls. So we go into those blind, and that's on purpose, I think. Make it about them. Hey, let me show you how this changes and how we're actually, as agents, we're going to be a little bit more transparent for you guys. Like, there's a benefit, in my opinion, there is a benefit to the NAR settlement. I don't love it. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but overall, we are required to be significantly more transparent with our buyers now, right? That's a benefit.
That's true. That is true. I think I still like using the fact that it's not me, it's a requirement, right? Which is,
you too.
This is what agents are required to do to show houses in the MLS. So I'm inciting the power of the MLS. It's not me. And I'm saying agents, not just me as an agent, all agents, meaning if you want to hang up and talk to somebody else, they're going to tell you the same thing. So I kind of like that framing. I don't know how to put value to them in there, only because if I'm trying to sell you, I feel like I can either tell you that it has to be done and everybody has to do it, or I could try to sell you on what the benefit to you is, which means that you might have a choice in the matter. Or We could do both, I guess.
I do both, and this is, and again, we're nitpicking this, guys. At the end of the day, he did fine. But I'm nitpicking it. So to me, it looks more like this. Hey, let me just cover exactly what the changes are and how they actually benefit you. So no, you are not technically required to pay. What we do now is that we have to have every single buyer has to sign a disclosure so they understand where the payment comes from. So that's a benefit to them. They understand. And so, you're going to have to sign that whether you work with me or whether you work with somebody else. I kind of make the joke that there's no reason to work with 10 different agents unless you want to do a whole bunch of paperwork. I suggest people just pick one agent, work with them so they don't have to go through this whole process every single time. So, some version of that. And again, the more we can make it about them, the better. And I do understand. I'd love what I call straw man or third party. Guys, I would love to go show you this house without this paperwork, but unfortunately I can't.
All right. So let's hear, this spurs the agent comment.
Gotcha. And I will just say at the beginning, we do have an agent already.
Alrighty. Do you plan to use that agent to, like, if you ended up liking the home?
Yeah, it's a family friend. So yeah.
Okay. Are you like committed to working with him? Do you have a agreement in place?
Nothing in place yet, but yeah, just relationship wise, but.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. So if in that case, if you plan to use him to write the offer on the property, I would refer back to him. But if for any reason that doesn't end up working out, I would love to help you.
Okay. Yeah, and then we can take a card and info or anything.
So basically the agent quits on the conversation, right? What I heard him do is he did kind of a portion of what we teach. We teach 4 steps. And this is kind of the basic thing that we teach agents to do until they get better at it. The 4 steps are paraphrase, committed, signed, benefit. So essentially, let me just role play that for you. Brian, say to me what you heard the lead say to him.
Hey, by the way, I've got an agent that we're going to work with. He's a family friend.
Oh, you have a family friend that's an agent you're going to work with?
Yeah.
Ah, God, are you committed to working with that family friend?
Yeah, I feel like we're committed to them, yes.
Okay. Have you signed an exclusive agreement with your agent yet?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't signed anything.
Okay, got it. Well, tell me this. Listen, I know they're a family member and obviously there's some familiarity there, but is there a benefit or an advantage to using your family member over any other agent in the market?
I mean, just that I know them and trust them.
Got it. Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes a long way. Okay. So I'm just demonstrating the 4 steps. So when I say paraphrase, you're just going to repeat back what they said in the form of a question and swing up on the end. Then you're going to ask, are you committed? And we really like you to do it that way. Are you committed to that agent? Because you get a couple of different things. You get either yes, you get the waffle, or you get a no. If they say no, and sometimes they do, you just move on and get rid of the rest of the process. They say yes or waffle, then you go to signed. And then here's my recommendation for everybody. A lot of people want to start selling or start pitching right away. What I see the best thing to do is ask that person why or advantage or benefit to working with that particular agent. What's good about the agent? What are they going to get out of working with that agent? Get them to tell you what they value.
Absolutely. And you said 3 things there, and I want to just say the only one I really like, and I do like it, I love it, I'm going to use the same one, is what's the benefit? I want to be careful with agents asking why. Why causes people to be defensive? Why means that I have to justify or rationalize my behavior, and that can break rapport. So I would just, as a rule, stay away from why. What's the benefit is the exact same question, but it's received much easier, if that makes sense. So I would just be careful saying why. Just say, hey, I have curiosity. What's the benefit of working with this guy? Which is exactly what you said. And I'm going to suggest to our audience, that's the question that's the most beneficial.
Absolutely. All right, good. So yeah, we heard him break. I think he could have stayed in there. That's the hardest one to convert as a family member. But if you can get down to it and figure out how they decided to work with the family member and what they're getting out of it, then, you can at least, this is the thing that I do with salespeople. You have to at least figure out what they think they're getting or what advantage they think it is and take at least one stab at selling it back to them, but getting you to provide it and adding maybe more, better, faster, cheaper, easier to it, whatever it may be. Take one shot at offering it.
And honestly, what I heard, Dale, and I didn't hear that it was a family member. I heard it was a family friend.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't remember whether it was member or friend.
And here's the thing. The only thing I'm going to point out to our audience, that's a slightly different handler, because the family friend might be what I'm going to try and look at is this person part-time? Is this person full-time? Hey, and this is not a question that you ask on the front end, but how come you're talking to me? Don't ask that question, but you want to get in there subtly. Like, why are we having a conversation? Oh, my guy's at his job right now. Okay. Now I've got something I can say to them. And again, if it's your brother, I don't think we're going to overcome. I got to eat Thanksgiving dinner with him here in a couple of weeks. And if I tell him I'm going to go buy a house with Brian, it's going to be an ugly dinner. Some family friend is a little bit different. So, and again, we don't really know because the guy didn't really dig. And that's the key, right? We have to dig, because I feel like he just gave up. You're like, oh crap. This person already has somebody who is important to them. I'm done. It's my brother. Yeah, you're probably screwed. I mean, it just is. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But a family friend, there's a lot. Does that mean my brother used this realtor and so we're going to use him too? Does that mean it's a guy who, I go drink with every Friday night? I mean, there's a whole different levels of different things that go on here. Just go deeper. Use the 4 steps that Dale talked about. Go deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you have for us, Brian?
Well, I have a call here that in some ways is similar to what Dale had, kind of cruising along, and then we just kind of get a little bit off track. This is a realtor.com, what they call Market VIP, very similar to Zillow Flex, the same type of thing where there's a call center that answers it, and then it gets transferred over to an agent. So I'm going to play it from the point that we get transferred over to the agent.
I have Gladys on the line. I share all information about your property there. I will let 2 of you from here, and I hope that both have a great day. Thank you so much. Hey, John.
Oh, hi. I told that representative I was at work, and I was just trying to see it sometime this evening.
Yeah, is it
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or not even like whatever you have. Like, I don't know if it's going to be raining, but I'm at work right now, so I get off at about 4:30.
About 4:30. Okay, so
Yeah.
I can try to book an appointment. I can see what's available. You said you get off work at 4:30. So what?
Yeah, or sometime this week. Like I just don't want to go when it's raining and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know the weather's supposed to be bad as well. I'm up here in Rogers, so I will do some research and see when appointments are available. I know that this property expects a lot of activity because in the notes it says all offers have to be in by November 6th. So I'll just have to double check the schedule that they have to see what's available to book.
So just so people have a feel for how long is November 6th, a week away, a month away, like what is it? So this call was from 2 days ago. So basically it was on November 4th. So ultimately what I'm hearing the agent say, if I read those notes, is there's either already at least one offer or we have multiple offers and we're going to review everything on November 6th. That's what I heard. One of the things that I want to go back to Dale's call is I felt like Dale's guy defaulted to yes. And I felt like this agent defaulted to no. And here's what I mean by that. Well, if we can possibly get you in, I'll get you in. Not, hey, let's get in if there's a problem. So I want to say to everybody, default to yes. Default to, I'm going to figure out a way to help you get what you want. Not, gee, I really hope it's going to work out. And I know it seems like a minor thing, but it's kind of like if you can think about listing appointments. So we lost a listing appointment the other day. And in my opinion, we lost it because we were honest. And here's what I mean by that. We told the people the house was worth 400. I looked at the CMA. I thought it was worth, somebody else told them it was worth 450. So they went with the person who told them what they wanted to hear. Now, I'm not suggesting that you lie in a listing appointment and tell somebody bad information, but there's nothing wrong with absolutely. I will do everything to make sure we can get you in. So default to yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we train. And a big part of the reason that I train that, Brian, you probably agree with this, is I can cancel any appointment that I set.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to a prospect, of course I want to book an appointment, but if somebody's trying to see a house, my highest and best priority is not showing a house. It's actually, with a brand new lead, it's actually seeing if I can build rapport with you and capture your business in case that house doesn't work out, or that showing doesn't happen, right? Or that property isn't right for you and you want to continue shopping. That's what I have to do. And so to get there, I need to say yes to you. Hey, yeah, great. We'll show that property to you. I'll confirm it with the sellers. And that's why when you heard my call, a specific thing we teach is, if that time doesn't work for the sellers, is there another time that would work for you, right? Get me a couple of times and then go on to rapport building and figuring out who this person is and what their story is to the extent that you can. Because this woman kept saying, I'm at work, right? So I would probably have tried to figure out when she's going to be off work so that we can then have a quick chat afterwards. And I could let her know at that time if we were confirmed.
We got that information, right? She said she's going to be off work at 4:30. Like, we know that she's going to be off. And I'll listen a little bit more of this call, but if this is by the way, this is a house that is below the market average cost. And so why am I pointing that out? Well, most of us are looking right now at market and they're like, well, it's not like things are flying off the shelf. Well, true. At $500,000 in my market, stuff isn't flying off the shelf. This house is listed at $215,000. It's surprising that it's not even sold in day one, because that is significantly below the average sales price in our market. Everybody wants the cheap house, right? So that's something that you got to understand as well. And we didn't take the opportunity, as we listen to the rest of this, to understand the value of potentially looking at this house, because there's not going to be 10 more like it. You know, you go up to 500,000, I can show you 100 houses. At 215, we got 3. So it's a really important opportunity to do that. Of course, we don't even know how much this person qualifies for because we didn't bother to ask. And we'll play a little bit more and you'll see what I mean.
Do you work every day until 4:30?
Yeah, Wednesday I'm not available at all.
Okay, cool. So I'll see if there's something today or tomorrow after 4:30. And I know about the rain as well. So I'll try to get something booked for then. Are you working with a realtor, or have you toured any properties lately?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Well, let me double check the phone number realtor.com sent me. That way I can text you and you'll have my number, and then I'll work on booking an appointment.
Well, so that's going to be like really soon then. I might miss this opportunity.
So it is, they're calling for all offers, but I'll do a little more research on it and see, like I say, once I pull up their schedule, I'll be able to know if they have a lot of appointments booked already.
Yeah.
Or,
just let me know, because if there is, I'm just going to I'll wait for something else.
Okay, cool. Well, I will work on that right now and I'll let you know, but I'll text you as soon as we get off the phone. That way.
Thank you. Okay.
What I heard from this person was, what it felt like is we almost talked this person out of wanting this house. Did you get that same feel?
Yes, I did.
And, Dale said this earlier, and this is, to me, I look at it slightly different, but I actually agree with what he said. But bigger picture, my goal is to get face to face or belly to belly, which I always thought was a weird thing to say. So I'm going to say face to face with somebody as quickly as possible, whether that's a buyer presentation, whether that's a listing presentation, whether it's showing them a house. Statistically speaking, it's like 62% of people work with the first person they meet in person. Just by being first, you got a 62% chance to sell this person. Don't talk them out of all of the things that they did. Literally, well, we might be able to, we can try. There's a million offered. Watch. Hey, I want to do a couple things. First of all, this is a great house, and there's very few houses that are in the quality of this house that are for sale right now in this price range. So before I do that, out of curiosity, what is your price range? Oh, I can go up to 600, or I can go to, no, this is the absolute top, or, this is right. We got that information. So, okay, understand there's not going to be a ton of houses available in this price range. So my suggestion is I'll find a way to get us in either today or tomorrow, based on what your schedule is. And with that in mind, we want to make sure that we give you the opportunity, because again, there's just not a ton of houses that sounds like a good thing to you. Make it sound excited to go see it instead of, well, let me tell you all the reasons it's going to be really freaking hard and there's going to be a bunch of offers and it's going to, if they want to write an offer, that's when you have that conversation. Look, we got to write a strong offer because there's a million other offers. Not, oh, let me tell you why this is going to suck real quick and talk you out of doing it.
Right. Exactly. That's funny. It's amazing that we have to say that. I think that some people, especially salespeople's default, and I mean, listen, Salespeople are people. We are people. For a lot of us, we want to try to serve the person. If the person asks for something that we know that they probably can't have or probably won't work out, we try to do them a favor and tell them that. However, you have to fight your natural human tendency to try and be a customer service rep and realize that at the end of the day, you are a salesperson. And so there are a couple of things that you have to do to fight your natural tendencies that will serve you as a salesperson. You still serve the client, you still serve the consumer, but in the moment, you have to fight some of those natural tendencies that can work against you as a salesperson.
Like my least favorite thing to see inside my CRM, it actually makes me want to fire somebody. I've never actually done it, but it makes me like when somebody does an inquiry about a property and you see an email in the CRM that says, hey, that property's pending or that property's under contract or that property's not available. That makes me want to pull out what little hair I have left.
But Brian, I think, instead of a swear jar, you need to have a stupid email jar. And if somebody does that, it's like, that's a $5 or let's say a $10. That's a $10 email that you just sent. You pay me $10. Like that's cheap because that should be a few $100 email that you just sent, or even a $1,000 email that you sent that just talked you out of a potential commission.
Well, I want you to think about this. How many of those people are going to get a response outside of thank you? Because the consumer doesn't go, they get stuck. And not every consumer, but most consumers go, oh, this house equals Brian. This house equals Dale. This one equals Bob. And we know that that's not true. But the public is like, oh, Dale's the listing agent. He's the person I need to talk to. Property's pending. Great. I don't need to talk to Dale anymore. And literally, you don't even get a chance to be a salesperson. And that's what I refer to as sales prevention.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right. On that note, Brian, I think we should let these people go for today because, you can't overfill the cup in one day, Brian. Cash call, everybody. Thanks for joining me and Brian Curtis here, and we will be back again next week.
Thanks, Sal.
Hey, if you like our content, you should check out our free skill assessment. Basically, you can jump on with one of our trainers for free and test out your 4 core scripting skills. And those would be your introductions, how you get into a conversation with a lead, your objection handling process, how you go about handling objections when they pop up in your conversation, your value proposition, if a buyer or seller said, why should I buy or sell with you, and your closing abilities. So you can jump on with one of our trainers, practice live with them. They'll take you through a pre-formatted set of role plays around those 4 key areas and give you immediate feedback on where you can improve so that you can start having better interactions with your leads and get more appointments set from the leads that you have. So click the link below to take our free skill assessment.